Hello. Hi there. I'm Linda K. Gifford. I'm the survivor of several years of childhood sexual assault. I'm no longer going to call it abuse. And I would really appreciate it if everybody would get on board and remember that being sexually assaulted is being assaulted, not abused. It's abuse too, but it's definitely assault first. So I have written a book. Is not out yet, but it's called Self-Talk, My Continuing Efforts to Survive Childhood Sexual Assault. And I've got a trigger guide that I've been sharing with you guys, and we're going to talk more about that tonight. A couple of steps in my guide. The acronym is SPADES, and we'll talk more about that soon. But tonight I want to explain, someone asked me in one of her messaging, what is CPTSD? And why do I say CPTSD? Well, C stands for complex. Complex meaning it's not one traumatic event, but a series of traumatic events. And as we've been talking about in the last few live streams, I like to mention, without getting too in-depth into it again, go back the last 2 live streams if you're interested in that. And you should be, because childhood sexual abuse or emotional neglect or trauma sets in a little differently than adults, a lot differently, in that your brain doesn't grow at a formative time. It doesn't grow the same way as a brain of someone who's not being traumatized or abused. You literally develop fewer connections in the part of the brain that stores memories, because your brain has decided that it's more important to not store memories, to disassociate. So I talk a lot about disassociation, and I have lately, and I'm not going to go there a whole lot tonight. We did last night, so if you want to, there's a playlist attached. Everything is, you can just go bing, bing, bing back through our topics. So spades, I want to whip through the parts we've been talking about intensively lately, which is S, the shame is not yours. P, separate the past from the present. Spent a lot of time talking about not going down the rabbit hole and why people like to do it, why it's comfortable to freak out. It gives you the permission then to have a cry fit or take yourself away, not in a bad way. It's actually a coping mechanism. Crying until you can't think anymore, or black out, or drinking and drugging until you're numb, until it's out of your mind, so you bury it. So that's what the P part is. Shame is not yours. Separate the past from the present. We're going to talk. We have talked a lot about that. Please watch back if you're interested in that. We're going to, of course, keep talking about it for probably ever. So, but today I want to move more on to the next letter in the acronym of spades, which is A. Ask. Ask for what you want. Most people, many people, they don't even realize they're taking what is given. They're taking what is given. And part of that is accepting who you're supposed to be in somebody else's eyes. Let me adjust this. Whoa. I don't know if I'm still on there. I guess I just minimized my screen. Sorry. People are trying to live up to what others tell them they're supposed to be, what their religion does, what their parents does, what their society does, what their culture does, to the point, and it's okay too. But if you are giving up some major part of yourself to do that, then it's not okay. Then you need to seek to appreciate and understand your upbringing and your culture and your situation in a way that also includes who you want to be, who you feel you are inside. This becomes particularly hard for people who are either trans or of unique genders. I'm fascinated by all the gender qualifications now. I really like it personally. That's a whole nother thing I'll go into another time. What I am. But don't want to get too far off the track here. So ask for what you want. Don't just take what's given. As I've said before, don't just be a reflection in someone else's eyes. And what I mean by that is, if you're looking in someone else's eyes to see who you are and what you look like and what your worth is, then you can't possibly be delving into your own soul. You're trying to meet somebody else's expectation of who you think you should be. And you think you're seeking your own self-fulfillment, but really you're seeking to be the most fulfilling thing to someone else. There can be a balance. I want to be the most fulfilling thing to my partner. I want him to be crazy happy. And I'm not in any way sacrificing of myself, because when I look in my partner's eyes, I'm seeing him look into my soul and me his, or whatever, it sounds mushy, you call it what you want. But there's no, I am exactly who I am. I say what I want, I do what I want, I don't change to make him happy. And neither does he me. I should probably say they to avoid pronouns, because this is really, it doesn't matter what kind of relationship you're in. Be careful and examine it and make sure that you're not just trying, you know. And here's the telltale signs. Here's how you know if you're in one of those. If the person that you're with tells you how you should dress, if the person you're with says you look better this way than that way, now, okay, it's okay to be honest. Like if I say, hey, does this look, you know, is this too booby or whatever? My partner will tell me, you know, it depends on whatever, you know, be honest, and in a social context, no big deal. But that's because I'm only seeking the advice, not because I don't know what I want, but because I'm kind of just seeking validation, because I already have picked somebody to be my partner who accepted me for who I am, right down to my ugly, ugly past. And it's, again, it's not an ugly past because of anything I did. I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I got victimized and assaulted repeatedly for years by I want to say a pervert. And I've actually found a little bit of forgiveness in that everyone's just screwed up. Society is just screwing everybody up. We make men desire young girls because we present them as sexual. If you present young girls as sexual, women are going to try to be sexual. They're going to be looking to see, I mean, who doesn't walk in a room, self included, and wonder, like, see someone who's like a certain degree of fatness, let's say, of weight. And I don't mean that in a fat shaming way. I mean, I'm always worrying about my weight, you know, whatever. So I'm like, here we go. This is the actual whole me. This is the whole me. I'm not a little girl. I'm not a big girl. I'm at that certain level of fatness. And anyway, I'll walk in a place and I'm like, you know, it's not like a major thing, but I'm human. I'm like, is that person fatter than me? Do I look like that? You know, we judge. We measure ourselves. And then when it's a partner, a potential partner, someone we want to be our partner, it's so easy to get lost in trying to become something that you think they will appreciate. When the only thing that will really work out in the end is if you are exactly who you are and they appreciate you despite that. Or anyway. So I don't like to get all self-lovey, but it really is a self-love game. Mental training is a self-love game. It's a numbers game. Can you outweigh the voices in your head dragging you down, telling you the self-talk that you used to deal with? Can you handle that? You're going to let it drive you crazy? You're going to take pills that deaden your sex drive or your libido? Or if you're a man, you actually can't get it up. That's a terrible thing. I mean, why take a pill? And I am an advocate for non-medication treatment of PTSD and CPTSD. And that is somewhere that right now I'm taking on a bunch of the establishment, but I'm in very good company. Please check out my playlist where I put a good one on there today talking about how you have to take control and make a decision that you're going to be mentally well, how you can alter your behavior. It's about altering your behavior, but it's the science, and it was fascinating. Really good stuff. Definitely, can't remember her name, but definitely I would check it out if I were you. There's a reason I put it on the playlist. I think it's awesome and important. And there's also one, if you're interested in the neuroconnectivity stuff, there's one that's more specific about that also on that playlist, which you will see if you just go back out of the channel, you know, on the channel homepage. This is only like my 5th or 6th live stream on YouTube. So pardon me, I'm not rusty so much as brand new. And I'm trying to raise money for SWEET. The reason I'm doing this is just change the world for the people I care about, and everyone, every woman, every man, every child, every LGBTQIA person, everyone. We should be able to be ourselves, and we should be able to not be preyed upon sexually. And when we are, we should be able to say so and get justice, which is the death penalty for first offenses, in my opinion. Just going to throw that in there. Also mark me down as 100% saying death penalty for first offenders. If you rape someone, I just want you out of the gene pool. If anybody's got a problem with that, I don't know. I am incredibly progressive, and in many ways, often called a bleeding heart liberal or a libtard. But there are certain things, you know, having been sexually violated, having never had the opportunity to give my body to somebody I chose for the first time, having never experienced an awakening, you know, my early sexual experiences led to where even my voluntary sexual experiences for a very long time, pardon me for bouncing the screen around, even my voluntary experiences were about the wrong things. Never about personal fulfillment. Everything from disassociating from situations I didn't want to be in and letting them happen again, happen anyway, to creating visions of things that weren't really there and trying to see them until it was obvious that I was making up this whole thing. So yeah, I have, in my pursuit of a healthy sex life, I have done a lot of unhealthy things. Welcome to life. Welcome to life. So I don't think it's unreasonable that somebody like me, who was the one that was victimized, one of us who were victimized, those of us who took the brunt of the assault, and I don't just mean this assault of our individual bodies during our rapes and molestations, I mean we've taken the brunt of the assault of reason by society, the assault of children, the sexualization of little girls, the paradoxes you set up, where by the time, I think, look at Angelina Jolie's daughter, Shiloh. She's already just this week cited as, oh, Angelina Jolie's 14-year-old daughter had even said her age, rocking the dark Daisy Dukes. Daisy Dukes are shorts that your ass hangs out of. I've said this on other live streams, but it's an excellent example. We're glorifying, we're teaching a 14-year-old girl that what is important is that her ass looks good hanging out of little shorts. So then we say that we have a problem with people having sex with 14-year-olds. And I do very much have a problem with that. But those of you who are outraged, would you please check your daughter's wardrobes? And I'm not body shaming either, because if you're playing volleyball, you know, you're wearing a sports bra and a spanky, I get it. You know, it's not about how much you have on or not. It's about the context. It's about the context. So if you're drawing from pop culture and using something as sexualized as Daisy Dukes and putting them on your adolescent child, then you might want to think about it, is what I'm saying to you in the kindest way I can. The way I really want to say it is, stop it, you motherfucking idiots. Stop it. Stop sexualizing children. Stop the paradox. Stop confusing us. So back to spades. Shame is not yours. Separate the past from the present. Ask for what you want. Don't just take what's given. E, obviously, educate. You got to educate. Do it. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. That is self-explanatory. Watch these. Share them. Tell other people to. Subscribe. The Sweet Survivor Rescue Fund is on both GoFundMe pages and Facebook pages now, fundraisers. And it doesn't have nonprofit status yet, but we are awaiting that. And it can take up to 12 months to get it through. So please don't make that not have you donate. And the other thing we were going to talk about today is masturbation. And we left off there last night. Even I had to, it's like, it's still a little bit of an awkward thing for people to talk about. But why? Why is it? Why is sex, and the kind of sex that leads to unwanted pregnancies and diseases and relationship problems, why is that so easy to talk about, but we can't talk about masturbation? Shouldn't it be taught? I mean, it's I think you're going to teach it to your own kids, and can't. Where are we going to teach? Not in the school system. It's still, though. I'm going to give you a story. My dear, sweet late mother found my nephew with his hand down his pants, jacking his stuff in the yard when he was quite young, and I was very impressed because she didn't say we don't do that, right? She was like, I almost said his name. I'm not going to do that to my nephew, who is now an adult. She said, grandchild, that's not something we do in front of other people. That's something that we do when we're alone. And I was like, wow, Mom, cool. That's something we do when we're alone. Masturbation is the answer to not getting someone pregnant. Not, there is great fulfillment in sexual release. And then I think society adds in this big need for it to be with another human. Well, that's good for procreation, and it's good for, I love it myself, granted, but not just with any human, only with a very specific human who's been incredibly well vetted through my brain. As I've said before, you've got to, I can't think of a better word, so I'm just going to say it and hope we don't get banned and maybe edit it out later, but you've got to fuck my brain before you're going to get to my body. And that's a hard thing to do. Therefore, I'm excellent at masturbation, and I recommend that you also get that way. Save sex for real, I gotta bond with you, not just physically, but mentally way, and then you'll avoid pitfalls. It's funny how much I get called promiscuous, that I'm a slut. I get messaged in comments, that I'm a promiscuous slut. It's like, if they really listened, they'd know that I actually think it's disgusting that men sit around waiting for someone to be 18 to be legal. It's like, it's not a big difference. You're still a teenager. Still a teenager. A birthday doesn't change a person's maturity level. I kind of think the age of consent should be more like 20. I have to argue lines. I know I'm also jaded by my own experience, but it took me until I was 17 to finally escape having sex with somebody I didn't want to, for years. And so to me, the idea of even thinking of being sexual at the age of 17, 18 it's hard. So I admit the verdict's out on this one. I personally think age of consent should be higher. I do. And I personally think it's disgusting for men of any age to be like, as long as she's 18, it's fine. I mean, it's not a finite line. It's more of a maturity level sliding scale, don't you think? I mean, an 18-year-old being with a 21-year-old, okay, maybe, but an 18-year-old being with involuntarily, and if they really feel they're in love, and then they're still wrong, and it's not going to work. So don't do it, people. Okay, call me jaded, but at least I don't see that as criminal or worthy of the death of the male. But an adult man who looks at a 14 or 15-year-old as sexually viable, fuckable, an opportunity, that's disgusting. And that's a societal problem. So back to the top, I was saying, as much as I could just carry on with all the years I spent hating on my ex-brother-in-law and all, I still think what he did was way out of line, and he's way too old and should have known better, and I'm not giving him any ground here. I'm just saying society also taught him that I was bait, that I was fair game. I say in a song I wrote on my CD, you can go to lindagifford.com and buy it. In fact, if you did, I'd appreciate it. But the song Little Girl says, wrap her up, she's ready now, tear away her bow. And that's like what you do. It's what you do. You wrap us up, and you make us pretty, and you compliment our asses hanging out of shorts when we're adolescents. And then you tell us to be good girls, and then we get raped, and then you tell us to be quiet, not tell anyone, or you marry us off quick because now you're pregnant and you're no good. I mean, come on. This shit has to stop. The only way it's going to stop is changing society. It's attitudes, societal attitudes. So I'm going to talk more in depth about that on Sunday. But tonight, I think we've touched on what I wanted to touch on, which is reiterating, we are going to call sexual assault, not abuse, because saying something is sexual abuse lightens it, and words do matter. If you have been sexually assaulted for years, you've been assaulted. I wasn't abused so much as assaulted repeatedly. So also ask for what you want. Don't just take what you get. And along those lines, until the time that you find what you want, try masturbation. It's definitely the way to learn about your body and your body's needs and prep yourself for the time that you do actually meet a partner that you want to be with. Instead of just going along and trying to be what other people want you to be to the point that you don't even know what you want. You know, I've been there, and I think every woman and probably most men I know have all felt they've been there too. So we all need to take back ourselves, and we all need to be more demanding, men and women. So why don't you do that? Also, I always forget to say, but almost everything I wear, these are DZI meditation cuffs. You can buy them at my store, feelgoodfairtrade.com. Aren't they beautiful? They have tri-metals, brass, copper, and silver. These are lapis. Can't remember where I got those from. Greece. My store, feelgoodfairtrade.com, supports women artisans in over 20 countries. This is also a DZI meditation piece. That just matches that because I like to wear matching cuffs. Because, you know, I had to close my brick and mortar. I ended up with a lot of jewelry. This bolo, that was a 10,000 Villages piece I sold in my physical store before I closed it and went strictly online. All jewelry purchases at feelgoodfairtrade.com. These also were 10,000 Villages. It is very similar. Anyway, all jewelry purchases at feelgoodfairtrade.com and scarves, they do support the Sweet Survivor Rescue Fund. And I am within the week away from having a sweetsurvivor.com open. Right now, if you go sweetsurvivor.com, it will take you to Feel Good Fair Trade, though, and you can buy jewelry. And in a week, it's going to take you to its own site with merchandising stuff, and Feel Good Fair Trade will still be selling jewelry and scarves to raise money for Sweet Survivor to provide transportation to victims of sexual abuse and trafficking who are in crisis. We're going to get them where they need to go so they can get help. And I'm going to ask you and beg you constantly, 4 times a week, actually, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Sundays, to please subscribe to our $5 a month subscription charity or more, whatever you want. Okay, $5 a month from a bunch of people will make a big difference in the lives of people, and that is literally why I'm here and how all this started. Well, it all started because I had a blackout, and I started writing and decided to turn it into a book. Went into therapy. It just kind of emerged. Got COVID. Immediately within 3 days before I had pneumonia, from the time I found out I had COVID, founded the Sweet Survivor Rescue Fund because my son said, what would you do if you were going to die in 2 weeks, Mom? When we both had our diagnosis. And I was like, I would get Sweet Survivor Rescue Fund, which I had on paper off the ground. And so boom, I did it. Then I got pneumonia. Then I almost died, but I didn't. Here I am. And we're going to change the world because I lived to do it. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Oh, actually, I have some hospital tests because of the COVID tomorrow. Hopefully I'll talk to you tomorrow. I'm not sure how. I don't know. They're going to check my heart. I've got like heart arrhythmia stuff going on, and we're checking my brain again to see about stroke stuff because of some weirdness. I'm a long hauler with COVID, had some issues. So tomorrow I will be at the hospital for tests, and I might see you tomorrow night, but if I don't, you'll know why, and I'll tell you about it later. So, Linda K. Gifford, signing out. Go do good.